guys, welcome to today's video. I'm very excited for today's video. If you can't tell from the title, we are doing another tutorial and review on a collab collection, and I'm very excited. I've never actually used any Sigma eyeshadows on my channel yet. I have quite a few of their palettes, but I've just never filmed with them. So I'm very excited about this. So this is the Disney Beauty and the Beast and Sigma collab. So there were 5 pieces in total in the collab, and I only have 3 of them. I have the full-size eyeshadow palette, the cheek palette, and then the brush set. So we'll get into each piece separately. But before we do, I just need to say hello, hi, welcome. If you are new here and you like your makeup tutorials to be honest and not heavily filtered, heavily edited, no craziness, lying, you know, that kind of thing. If you like, you know, your normal makeup reviews and tutorials, and if you like makeup tutorials that are really easy to follow, please consider subscribing. I would love having you here. I like to keep it easy and fresh over here, and I like to do makeup that everybody can do. Because I'm not a makeup artist, I just really like to play with makeup and review makeup and show you guys what products look like on real, unedited, unfiltered skin. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to get into it. I'm going to break out each piece by itself. We'll probably talk about the brushes first, talk about the cheek palette, we'll talk about the eye palette, and then I'm going to do a couple different eye looks with this palette, and then I'll use the cheek palette too. The cheek palette has 2 different blushes in it, so I'll use one on each side. I just have some lipstick on right now, did my foundation, my concealer, and I have a little bronzer on. That's it. Nothing else is on right now. So we will do all of that. But let's get into talking about each of these products. Alright, so starting with the makeup brush set themselves. If you have never used a Sigma brush set, this honestly might be a really good one to pick up. It comes with 2 face brushes and then 3 brushes for your eyes. I really like Sigma brushes. I know a lot of people across this platform say that, which is actually how I found them myself. I find their eye brushes are just really easy to work with, and I have a few foundation brushes of theirs. The one in the set is actually, I don't know if it's completely new to them, but it's new to me. So I'm really excited about that. But let's look. So first, the brushes come in this very beautiful navy bag, and it's got a glitter texture to it, but it doesn't come off on your skin, so don't be afraid of like glitter getting all over your house. That's not what's gonna happen here. It's just this very beautiful textured glitter bag that's so, like, it just looks so classy. And then it's got the Sigma logo on this side. It's got a pull tab that has actually Belle's silhouette on it. I'll try to get it a little bit closer so you can see it. It's not focusing well. But it's got Belle's silhouette on it. And then the other side has the Disney Beauty and the Beast logo on it. And then this thing is actually very sizable. So let me take the brushes out so you can see. The lining is the gold of Belle's dress, which I think is amazing. I love the Beauty and the Beast animated film. It's one of my favorites. And then it's just got the silhouettes of Belle and Beast and their castle. And this thing is very sizable. I was able to put everything that I bought from this collection into the bag, like I'm doing right now. And there's still a little bit of room in here, so if I was traveling, I could probably pop like a mascara and a lipstick in here, maybe a foundation depending on how big it was. But it's a pretty sizable bag. I mean, you could use it for a lot of things too. So the bag comes with it, and then it comes with these 5 brushes. So I will show these to you now. So there are 2 face brushes, like I mentioned before. I'm trying to organize these. So this is the, what is this one called? The F46, and it is an angled foundation brush. And all of these brushes have these very beautiful navy handles and then the gold ferrule on them. And each of the ferrule has an imprint of a character from the movie. So this is the angled foundation brush, so you can see it's angled. I haven't used it yet. I really want to though, but it's very soft, which is really nice too. And this one has an imprint of the Beast on it. So let me try to focus it so you guys can see. There it is, right there. So he's right there. The problem is these things are really reflective, and I'm trying, like the ferrules are very reflective, and I'm trying not to like blind you with the lights that I have going on here. And then the second face brush that you get is a powdered sculpt brush, and it's sculpted very nicely. I guess I shouldn't have done my bronzer already, but you can get right into that cheekbone area there for your bronzer. You could also use it for your blush if you'd like that as well. Or it could even be like an all-over powder brush. Like, it's a pretty sizable brush. So you could do, you know, any of that stuff with it. And then this one has Belle imprinted on it. So there she is right there. And then there are 3 eye brushes. One of them is stuck in the bag. So I actually filmed this video originally last week, and the reason why I'm refilming it and the reason why you didn't see the original video is because I didn't like the way my foundation looked in that video. So I scrapped the whole thing and I'm doing it over now, but I actually used this brush in that video. So it's a little stained, but this one is the diffused blend brush for your crease. That's what I used it for anyway. And then this one has Lumiere on it. He's very tiny. It's very hard to see him, but he's on that ferrule. And then you get the E55, which is an eye shader brush, and this one has Cogsworth on it, the little clock guy. So there he is right there. He's also very tiny as well. And then they also provided a flat definer brush, which you could use for either your lower lash line or eyeliner. And this one has, I believe it's Chip. Yeah, it's Chip. So Chip is on this one. Speaking of being very little, like you can't even see him. He's so tiny. But yeah, it's just a flat brush that you can, you know, maybe we will use it for the lower lash line today. But those are the brushes that you get with this set in this collection if you know, want to purchase them. But like I said before, I love Sigma brushes. They are some of my favorites that I have. They just work really well. I find that the quality of them is very good as well. They are typically a little bit pricier of a brush, but I'm fine putting money into something like that if I know that it's gonna last a little while, and so far I haven't had any problems with them. So typically I'll pick up some brushes, you know, when they have like their Black Friday sales or just other friends and family sales throughout the year. I'll pick up some new ones. So I don't usually pay full price for them, but I really do. They are very, very good quality brushes. So those are in the set. And now let's move on to the cheek palette. All right, so the cheek palette that is in this collection is, the outer packaging is just so beautiful. It's this navy blue, and then it's got the beautiful roses, which look like they're stained glass to kind of go with the stained glass vibe of the movie. And then you open it up and there's a mirror here in the front, which I'm not going to show you just because it's very reflective with the lights and everything. I don't want to blind you guys. But there is a small mirror here. It's like this part right here is the mirror. So it's not the whole top half that you're seeing here, but there is a mirror in here that, you know, could be used if you're traveling or whatever. So inside there are 3 products. There are 2 blushes and a highlighter. So the 2 blushes are, there's a pinkier blush called Something Sweet, and then more of like a neutral peachy blush that's called Beauty Within. And then the highlighter is right in the middle. I'm actually going to swatch these two so you guys can see them. The highlighter is right in the middle, which I think is pretty cool. Okay, so this is the blush. That's a blush. And then this is the highlighter. So there's even imprints in the products themselves of the characters. So there's Belle and Beast, there's Lumiere, and then there is the Beast Rose that the Enchantress gave him because he was naughty. So yeah, so these are standard to my knowledge of a Sigma blush and highlight. If you have any of their other cheek products, these are, especially their little cheek palettes, these are the same formula that, as far as I'm aware. But here they are swatched. So there's the pink blush, there's the neutral blush, and then the highlighter is in the middle. And the highlighter is kind of more of a golden tone, which is not typically what I go for, but it is very pretty on the skin. I have used it. It is very pretty on the skin, and it's not too dark for my like super fair skin, so that's good to know. But there are 2 matte blushes and then the really pretty highlighter. So this is another good option to pick up. Sorry, I forgot what I was about to say. But there are 2 other products in the collection that I did not pick up. There are a set of mini lip creams and a mini eyeshadow palette that I did not get. I just got these 3. So now we're going to move on to the eyeshadow palette and talk about that for a minute. Alright, so the eyeshadow palette has the same outer packaging as the cheek palette. It's this very beautiful navy blue. It's got the Beauty and the Beast. It's got the roses with the stained glass effect. It also is very reflective. Inside, there is another mirror, so it's kind of got the whole dealio from the cheek palette going on. It's not the whole, like, top part, but it is a nice sizable mirror in here. I'll try to show you guys what I'm talking about. Nah, I can't. Too reflective. But it's a nice sizable mirror, so if you need to do something quickly on the go, it's, you know, a good thing to have. And then inside there are 14 eyeshadows. Yeah, 14 eyeshadows. And you get a free dual-ended eye brush, which I love that they include these because, you know, like I said earlier, they do have some really, really, really good eye brushes. And to give you kind of 2 of them in one, you know, it's an added bonus. So I did see, I know this came out a while ago, and I did see a lot of complaints that it does lean extremely neutral and people thought there'd be a little bit more gold in it, but I kind of see where they were going with the color story, in my opinion. There are a lot of neutrals. It is a really good, I say this a lot, especially when I'm doing like eyeshadow palette reviews. Not everybody is gonna have, you know, 500 eyeshadow palettes. The typical consumer will only have a few. And, you know, if I wasn't making these videos, I probably wouldn't have what I have either. But there are some colors in here. There probably could be a few more. But I like when they make palettes where there's neutrals and colors so that you have one palette that kind of does everything, and especially the ones that let you create daytime looks and nighttime looks. That way you don't need to hoard eyeshadow palettes. You can just, you know, get 1 or 2 or whatever it is that does everything that you want it to do, and this is doing that for you. So this is the color story. So there's a lot of neutrals. There's this really beautiful navy blue right here, and then there's, you know, some coloring over here. You got some pinks, some purples, some of those beautiful tones. And yes, most of it is neutral, but I don't mind that. This white right here, this sparkly white, could be a really good like inner corner highlight or brow bone highlight. I don't usually do that, but you know, it's a really good idea. Some people also like to use these types of shadows on their lid, but this one is more of a topper. Just so you guys are aware, here, I'll swatch it. It's more of a topper than anything else, so you're not going to get a lot of pigmentation off of it. But, you know, I do think this Enchantress shade here, which is kind of like an olive gold color, could have been a little bit more golden, kind of like the color of Belle's dress. So I do kind of understand that, but like I said, I love when eyeshadow palettes are so cohesive that you only really need like 1 or 2 of them. You don't need like 500 of them. So we're going to play with this a little bit. I will tell you before we fully get started, since I have used this a few times, the formula of this eyeshadow palette is very similar to their other palettes that are kind of in this longer rectangle design. So if you have any of those, like the Enchanted palette, the Ambiance is one of my personal favorites for neutral eye looks. I use it all the time. Especially in the summertime when I'm not doing a colorful look, I'll do something more neutral. That's usually the palette I will use. I flip between that and my Natasha Denona bronze palette. for neutral shades in the summer. But if you have, and if you've ever used any of those, this is the same formula. So if you like those and you're happy with those, and maybe you really like Beauty and the Beast, you're not gonna go wrong with this one. So that's a little spoiler. They work really great. So we're probably gonna do a couple different eye looks with it. I'm not gonna go crazy, but we'll see. We'll zoom in and we'll play a little bit because I like to play with this. So yeah, I'm gonna prime my eyes really quick, zoom in, and we'll get started with our different eye looks. Okay, so before we do the eyes, I want to play with the cheek palette. I started to get ahead of myself. I completely forgot that I need to play with this. So I'm gonna use my little BK Beauty, what is this, 109 brush. I love this for like blush and bronzer and all that. So I'm gonna go into the shade Something Sweet. And it's really pigmented, so I'm just gonna pick up a little bit. And this is the blush, the pinkier blush. So we're just gonna stamp that in. And then blend it out. There we go. So it's really pigmented. You could go feral with it very easily, but it's really pretty on the skin. I really like it. And then let's do this. This is the Beauty Within shade, so this is the more neutral, peachy color. See, really easy to go feral with it. But I really like this color too. I do lean more towards neutral peachy blushes anyway, depending on what color eyeshadow I'm using. So this is a really pretty color. And then let me grab my highlighter brush. I have to find it. Oh, here it is. And I'm just going to tap a little bit into this highlighter. Yeah. I love that glow so much. I love when it's blinding, but it's not like in your face blinding. And then I don't feel like it's too dark for my skin, even though it's more of a like gold champagne color. I think it's really pretty. I like it a lot. So let me know your thoughts, but now we're gonna zoom in more and do the eyeshadow palette. Alright, so I think I'm gonna do 3 looks with this one. I think I'm gonna do one on each eye and then kind of go in for something a little bit more cohesive on both eyes to finish it out. So I'm gonna use the dual-ended brush that was in the palette, and I'm gonna use the fluffy crease side. And I'm gonna go into the shade Cogsworth, which is this light matte brown on the top. And I'm just gonna warn you, it is very pigmented, so keep that in mind if you do have like a fairer skin tone. But I'm just gonna work that into my crease as my crease shade. Alright, so I have that all blended out, and then I'm going to use my little pencil brush in the shade Runaway, which is this very beautiful matte kind of reddish brown. And I'm going to use that on my outer corner and then kind of bring it into my crease a little bit. And then I'm also going to run it along my lower lash line as well. And then just kind of bring it in. I still like to create the outer V, so that's what we're doing here. And what's funny is it looks so much darker on the camera than it does in real life. And then just, where is my little smudgy brush? Kind of run it along there. There we go. Okay, and then I'm going to use the shade Little Town, which is a metallic kind of golden brown, and I'm going to use that on my eyelid as the lid shade. And I'm going to use my finger to do it. Okay, so that is look number one. I'm not going to add any mascara or anything right now because I am going to wipe it off and do something else on this eye when we're done here. But I do want to say that the lid shade that I just put on does have a little bit of fallout. I do have some glitters on my face, so just keep that in mind. If you're a person who typically does your face makeup before your eye makeup, just keep that in mind. You might want to do it the other way around just because there's a little bit of fallout. Or if you don't mind walking around with some glitters on your face, you know, that's fine as well. Whatever you like to do. I just wanted you to be aware of it. But now what we're going to do is we're going to move on to the other eye. And I'm going to use a different crease brush. And I'm going to go into the same shade to start with, this Cogsworth shade. So we're just going to pick it up and we're going to blend it into the crease. Alright, so we have that all blended out, and now I'm going to use the little pencil brush, and I'm going to go into the shade Pots, which is this very beautiful pinky purple matte color. And as you can tell from the name, it has Mrs. Potts imprinted in the eyeshadow. So I'm just going to pick up a little bit, and we're going to use that on the outer corner and under the lash line as well. We're going to go with a little bit more color on this side. Alright, so this is a shade that can actually be built up, which is pretty cool. I don't mind when eyeshadows need to be built up. And I'll fix all the harsh edges in a minute. But I'm going to use the flat definer brush that came in the brush bundle. And I'm just going to take that same eyeshadow, the Pot shade, and place it right here on my lower lash line like that. And then for the lid shade, I'm going to kind of do two different ones. There's these two very beautiful metallic shades on the end of the palette. One is a rosy pink color called Rose Petal, and the other one is more of a purple, and it's called Ma Cherie. So I'm going to take Ma Cherie first, and I'm going to use my finger for both of these, and we're just going to tap this one right here, like that, and then wipe it off, and then use the pinkier one on the inner corner. Just kind of blend those shades together, and then add a little bit more of the Pot shade right there. Alright, so one neutral eye, one more colorful eye. I'm gonna wipe these off and get started on the third more cohesive eye. Alright, so I took those off and had to put concealer back on, a little powder, and I reprimed my eyes. So I'm going to start with the same shadow. I'm going to start with the Cogsworth shade. And I'm going to use the diffuse blend brush that was in the brush bundle this time. Yeah, that's very pigmented. So yeah, just keep that in mind. If you are a fair skin tone, you might want to go light-handed and just really make sure you blend it out. Okay, so now for the outer corner and the lower lash line, I think we're going to go into the shade Beast, which is that matte navy that I showed you earlier. Just kind of doing something a little different than normal. Tap some of it off. This eyeshadow would be very, very pretty as like an eyeliner. Alright, so I added it to my outer corner and then on the lower lash line as well. And I'm going to use my finger again And we're going to go into the shade Belle, which is a very beautiful light gold, slightly metallic. Here, I'll swatch it on my hand so you can see what I'm working with. It's like a pale yellow gold. Yeah, there it is. It's very, very minimal. But I'm going to lay this down first. And then because it's, you know, named after Belle, it does have her imprint in the shadow as well. And we're just going to add that. And then go back in with the matte shade. Just kind of clean everything up a little bit. If you wanted to, you could get very smoky with this. Alright, and then I think I'm going to use a little bit of that Winter's Night color as the topper, just to kind of add a little sparkle to it. Just kind of give it a little something else. And then I'm going to hop off really quick and just do some mascara, and then zoom back out and we will talk about everything. Alright, so that is the completed third look. I really like the way that this turned out. I don't typically use like dark black or navy shadows when I do my eyes, but I really like how this one turned out. I really like how you can diffuse it out so it's not as intense, or you could leave it more intense if that is kind of your thing. So I really like that as well. So let's talk about each of these products individually, and then I'll talk about them kind of collectively as a whole. So starting with the brush bundle in the little bag, I think this is a fantastic value set if you maybe don't have a lot of eye brushes, or not even just eye brushes, but brushes in general, or maybe you wanted to try Sigma but you really don't know where to start. I like this set. It's got a foundation brush, it's got a really nice face brush for your brush and or bronzer, and then it's got a nice mix of their eye brushes in it as well. Plus it comes in this really pretty bag that you can store everything in, so organization is there, which I know a lot of people are into. So overall, I think that's a really good set to pick up if you're just kind of not really sure, or if you already love Sigma brushes and you maybe want some backups of a few things that you may already have, because I believe the eye brushes are all like best-selling brushes for them. So I definitely, except for this little foundation brush, I have no idea. I can't recall this being in any other collection before, this angled brush, so this might be kind of a newer one that they're toying with, but I like it. It's very soft. I haven't used it yet, but I like the way it feels, and just by putting it on my face, I kind of feel like it's gonna do what I want it to do. And I already do have a couple of Sigma foundation brushes that I do like. I have the what is it, the Air foundation brush? I can't remember what it's called. But I have that and I really like it. So this, I'm sure, is going to be just as great as that one is. So yeah, overall, if you are a person that's really like looking for something new with your brushes, this is a really, really, really nice set to pick up. Okay, the cheek palette, absolutely. I personally love it. I love a really good blush. I have so many blushes. I love blush. And I really like the glow of a highlighter. So when they're together, I really do like that. And I like that you do get two different blush options. I do, however, personally wish that one of the blushes was changed out with maybe like a bronzer. Just because I'm a person who, especially when I travel, I like to just take one thing and just pop it into my bag, and you don't need anything additional. So the fact that it's missing a bronzer, for me personally, it's, kind of like a no, but the products themselves are really good. The formulation of them is fantastic. I don't really know how these are going to work on darker skin tones. Obviously, I don't have that, so I don't know for sure. I haven't really seen too many videos about this, so I can't like speak for anybody else, but hopefully if you're into this and you do have a darker skin tone than I do, hopefully these shades will work for you, and if not, I hope Sigma does better, because, you know, we need the brands to do better than that. But if you are in the market for blushes and a highlighter and, you know, you're into the collection, this is also a really nice grab as well, just because these are very pigmented blushes. You saw it blended out really pretty. It looks really pretty on the skin. And even though I have two different blushes on, it doesn't really look like that. I don't think you would be able to really know if I don't tell you. I think it was blended out enough to where you know I'm wearing a blush, but not that they're two different blushes. So I like that too. So another good solid option from this set as well. All right, now everybody's favorite part of any collection, the eyeshadow palette. Like I said before I even got started, I love these long rectangular palettes from Sigma. I have a few of them in my collection that I rotate through pretty often. Like I said, the Ambiance, which is like a more neutral gold palette, is one of my personal favorites. I use it a lot for some reason in the summer. I don't really know why. It's just what I do. So the formula on these is, to me, the exact same as those. So if you have any of those, the formula of this is the same. If you don't have any of those, the palette works great. They're all pigmented fantastically. They blend really well. I feel like the color story will speak to a lot of different people, even though it's probably not exactly what people thought when they saw this collection get announced. I still think it's really, really good. Hands down, if you can only get one thing from this set, I definitely would not steer you away from this eyeshadow palette. I think you can get some really, really beautiful looks out of it. And yeah, they're basic colors and you probably already have them in other eyeshadow palettes, so I'm just going to put it out this way. If you are a Beauty and the Beast fan like I am, this is definitely one to add to your collection. You're not going to be mad that you have it. I really like it. I've used it several times since I've gotten it. And even now, I just did 3 very quick looks with it. So if you can only grab one thing, I definitely say, you know, lean towards the eyeshadow palette. But also, it's going to be your personal preference as well. If you can only get one thing and you're really into the cheek palette, that's a really good grab as well. And the lip creams, I don't have them, but I've heard really good things about them. So if you do like more of a creamy lip, they look like almost like a liquid lipstick, but they don't dry down from my understanding. So if you know, like that, I hear those are really good as well. I don't have them obviously to show you, but they're there as well. So I think if you can only grab one thing though, it's going to pretty much boil down to what your personal preference is. If you are in need of brushes, the brush set's really good. The cheek palette's really good to have as well. The eye palette, I'm always gonna, you know, push anybody towards an eyeshadow palette as long as it's, you know, decent and worth it. They are a little bit more on the pricier side. The brushes, the eyeshadow palette itself too is really pricey. But like I've said before, I don't really mind paying a little extra for something as long as it's decent and it works really well. I don't mind. I have so many different things in my collection, from luxury brands all the way down to the affordable brands. And even the luxury stuff that I've purchased, most of what I have is pretty decent, so I don't mind having it. But I understand the frustration when you spend your money on something that, you know, you hope is good and it's not. And that's kind of one reason why I'm making these videos too, is just so you guys can see them being used on someone who doesn't heavily edit their videos or use filters of any kind. So overall, this is a really good grab from Sigma. The pieces that I have are great. I'm going to keep them in my collection for a really long time. I'm going to use the eyeshadow palette more and more, especially during the holidays. I think you can get some really nice holiday looks out of it. But yeah, I'm just sitting here rambling at this point, but let me know your guys' thoughts down below. I appreciate you watching the video today. And like I said at the beginning, if you have not already subscribed, please click that subscribe button. And I will see you guys in my next video next week. Bye!